You can always edit a bad page. You can't edit a blank page. Jodi Picoult.
You're listening to Writing Roots, brought to you by Aspen House Publishing.
Welcome to Writing Roots. I'm Lee Hull.
And I'm Lee Esses. Today we're talking about some of the biggest advice I have for new and aspiring authors out there. We kind of touched on this last episode with the don't compare your first draft to Brandon Sanderson's final draft. The advice is write now, edit later. Almost every big name author out there, especially those that are known for giving advice, like Stephen King and such, they all have some version of hold off on editing until that first draft is complete.
This, of course, applies to everyone except for me. I need it to be perfect right now. I can't edit it later. That's not okay. If you can't tell, this is the thing I probably struggle with the most. I have gotten a little bit better with it than I used to be, but I still struggle with the right now, edit later, because I want it to be good.
I do want to say this is a skill. This is something you have to practice. Practice holding off on editing until you can get the first draft done.
And it can hurt. Getting that first draft written without editing it along the way is hard. That is one of the hardest things I do when I write.
If you're looking for tools as far as how to write now and edit later, I would advise you to go to sprints. Make sure that you are doing writing sprints where you are timing yourself, you are racing to get as many words on the page as possible, because then you don't have time to edit and ponder over, is this exactly the right word that I mean, blah, blah, blah. You are just word vomiting so you can get through that draft.
When it comes to this piece of advice, right now, edit later, there are a few things to remember why it is so important. With the first draft, getting it written, like I said, is hard. It is rare that someone even completes a first draft. So if you have completed a first draft, congratulations, you are in a minority. It may not feel like it because of all the published books out there, but if you listen to the last two episodes, we also talked about a lot of people start and never finish.
And I think there's this weird expectation of self that my first draft should look like someone else's final draft. So people tell themselves when they're first starting out, I'm doing it wrong because it doesn't fulfill this expectation. And they forget that there is a process to the whole thing.
Which we will talk about that process in just a minute. For me, the first 10,000 to 20,000 words of a book are the easiest. These are the ones that I can pants because I'm setting up the world, I'm setting up the characters, I'm setting up the plot. To me, that is the easiest part. Getting past that is, I think, where a lot of people give up.
There are a lot of methods that people have for dealing with this. Finding one that works for you is part of your writing journey. But this is something we want to make you aware of as you are first stepping into the writing world. As you're first getting your book on paper, it is very common to get a few chapters into your book and then go, ugh, and not want to finish it. Totally okay, totally common. Don't stop writing.
Some of the times you have to simply answer the muse. If the muse is calling you to a different story, go chase her down. Go to that different story. Writing now means that you're writing. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are writing in the same story that you started in. And sometimes the muse is a little fickle, and you have to go chase her down and sit down and make her give you something to work with.
Whack her with a club.
But it is all in the pursuit of getting that first draft written, because finishing the first draft is the only way that you will be able to complete the book. And if you are stopping every chapter to edit that chapter while you're writing, then you're never going to get past that chapter.
And you'll get bored with the book and just not want to do it.
Yep, certainly that's where I'm stuck.
So if you are new to this writing thing, it is easy to forget that there is a process to writing the book. The process, at least for you as an author, comes down to write now, edit later. You will get to that goal that you want to be at, but if you keep editing, you're stopping or slowing yourself down quite a bit.
Part of the process with getting a book out into the world, finishing a book, is the decision that you have to make before publishing, whether you want to actually share your book with the world. If all you want to do is have a story for yourself and maybe for a couple people around you, then it doesn't need to be perfect. You don't actually need to edit it. You just need to write it, and that's enough.
The first step is making that decision of if you want to get it out into the world or if this is something just for yourself. And if just writing it is all you need to do that. The second step is, of course, writing that first draft.
The worse your writing is during the first draft, the easier it's going to be to edit later. I know that sounds weird, but it's true. When I wrote the first 2 books of the Gamer Files, I didn't care how good the story, the writing, the prose was. I just needed to get it down on paper, and then I could fix it later. And the editing process was fairly easy because I wasn't trying to preserve a lot of writing even if it didn't fit. It was, okay, what works, what doesn't, what needs to change.
So first you get it written, and then you get it right. Editing is a step in the process. It is a thing that happens. Please don't try to put your flour in the oven before you mix it and still expect a cake. You have to do things in order to have something that's vaguely edible on the other side.
Remember, editing and needing an editor is not proof that you are a bad author. Getting an editor means that you are acknowledging that you care enough about the book to invest more time, more energy into making it the best product it can be in the end.
Yeah. If 2 different people came up to me at a conference and one of them said, I don't need an editor, and the other says, I love my editor, you know who I'm more likely to read?
The one who has an editor?
Yes. Inevitably, it's going to make for a better product. And if your story is worth telling, which they all are, then it might be worth investing in if you want other people to read it.
Once you have it written and then edited, again, that's the second step in the process. The third step, fourth step, whatever step we're on, is to market your book. To sell well, if that is your goal, you need to market your book before it publishes. Build the anticipation, build some pre-orders. Algorithms love a good pre-order.
But I'm not finished writing my first book, and I'm starting to market it now, and it doesn't seem like there's any interest in it, so I'm just not going to finish the book.
There are several things wrong with that sentence. First of all, if you have started marketing a book that is not finished, you are now obligated to those people who are interested in it to publish and finish the book. I mean, not really, but you are disappointing some people. This is why you don't query, you don't market, you don't publish until the book is ready to go out into the world. I saw somebody recently talking about the querying process, and this I think applies to marketing as well. You don't start that process, whether it is querying if you're trying to go traditional or marketing if you are self-publishing, until you are confident that your product is ready for the world to see it.
This can be a little different if you're writing textbooks and nonfiction, but you have to already be a celebrity in order to really pull that off, of not having a book written before you query. Certainly always have the book written before you start marketing it.
Even if it doesn't feel like you're getting a lot of attention for that unwritten book that you're trying to market, you may be gathering some attention. And if you break those readers' trust before you even start your journey as an author, then you're not going to get solid, dedicated fans. If you have promised them something and don't fulfill, they will not trust you.
And of course, the last step we want to talk about is releasing your grip on the story, letting the world have it, and then probably marketing some more after you publish it.
Marketing is an ongoing, unfortunate aspect of the publishing and writing process. If you want to make money, you have to market it even after it is published. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Again, all of these are separate phases that need to be treated as separate phases. If you start mixing the order, if you start trying to market before you've finished it, if you start trying to edit before your first draft is done, if you try to publish before you've edited, anything out of order, and you end up with burnt flour instead of a cake. Overall, writing is a journey about discovering yourself and discovering the process that you need to take and that you need for your own writing.
The process that we've talked about today exists for a reason. This is the recipe for success, for completing that novel, for publishing that novel. You have to write first and edit later. What that looks like for you is part of your personal journey. But wherever you are in the process, make sure that you
write selfishly.
If you have a question or comment for our hosts or a topic you'd like us to cover, send us an email at writingroots@aspenhousepublishing.com or find us on Facebook by searching for Aspen House Publishing.